Hey guys, Nagraj here. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new for my channel, please do subscribe. Today we'll discuss another important topic, the differences between the array list and vector. This is again most commonly asked interview question for the freshers or core Java interview. Before getting to the actual differences between the array list and vector, we'll see first the similarities between these two, and later we'll go for the differences. Okay, the main similarities are like the ArrayList and Vector, both are classes, and these two are implements the list interface. Regarding architecture of collection framework, we already made a video, so please go and watch if you are not yet seen. Quickly we'll see how ArrayList works basically. So I have created an object for ArrayList and I have added one data. As I have taken the generics as an integer, I have added one integer data here. Okay, so how it looks in the memory. If I consider this as an array list, as I have added one data, so these data is reside here in the memory location first index. So it is once I created the object of array list, right? Java will allocate 10 memory location to the array list by default. Okay, that's what I have shown here. So if I try to add more than 10 element, what happens? Let me add more than 10 element now. Okay, let me add more than 10 element, what will happen? So if I add, okay, now I have added 10 elements. So how in the array list it looks like? Now it is looks like, see, now it will be looks like this the array object. Okay, it is looks like this. So 10 element are saved. So if I add more than 10 element, now what will happen? So if I add, right, let me add more than one element. Let me add 11 here. Okay, so now how it looks like? So it looks like Java, it creates one more memory location with the capacity of 16 now. So by default it was 10 memory location. Once if it exceed more than 10, so array list size will increase by 50%. Earlier it was 10, now it is 16 or 15. So 0 to 15 now. So it is the size of the array list increased by 50%. But in case of vector, it will increase the size by 100%. Suppose if I go back to the vector here, I have created vector object. So generics as an integer I have added so that I can add the integer values. So now I will see the capacity of this. So we have a method to check the capacity in the vector, right? So let me run this program. So we can see by default it location is 10 element. 10 memory location it got allocated, right? So if I add more than 10, what will happen? Let me see once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have added 11 element now. So if I run this program, so it is showing the size is 20. So the size of the vector increased by 100% now. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so we'll see the first difference now. The class type. The main difference is like the vector, it got introduced in the JDK 1.0. That's why it is called as a legacy class. So array list introduced in JDK 1.2. This is the first difference between the array list and vector. The second differences is the array list is non-synchronized in nature by default, but vector is synchronized. What is the meaning of it? The synchronization means once you create an object for the vector, so vector allows only single thread to work on it. But in case of array list, the multiple thread can work on the same object at the same time. That's why it is called as a thread. No, it is not a thread safe. Array list is not thread safe because of its non-synchronized nature. That means once you create an object of array list, suppose I will go back to the Eclipse. Okay, I have created the array list object here. So multiple thread, it is allowing multiple thread can work on the same object because of one thread can do the insertion operation and another thread can use for the searching the element in the array list. So multiple thread can simultaneously can work on the same object. But in case of vector, it is not allowing, only single thread can be operated at the same time. Because if multiple threads are trying to work on vector, it is making a queue. That means, so after completion of the one thread, only the next thread can operate on the vector object. Okay, so that is nothing but a non-synchronization and a synchronization. So array list is non-synchronized in nature. That's why it is a non-thread safe, not a thread safe, but it is a thread safe because of the synchronization. Because of the multiple thread can operate on a a single thread is not possible in case of vector, but multiple thread can operate on a same object of the array list. Okay, next we'll quickly move to the next differences. The resizing. Resizing already we discussed it, like, so array list will increase its capacity by 50% and vector they increase its capacity by 100%. So array list default capacity is 10, but the vector's default capacity also 10, but increasing way is different. Like the capacity, how it is calculating the increased capacity, it is a formula. This already we have discussed in the previous video as well. Like n here is the current capacity, means old capacity, 10 into 3. Suppose by default it is having 10. 10 into 3 by 2 plus 1, that means 16, means 0 to 15. So the capacity of the array list increased its size by 50% in every time, but vector, the capacity will increase by 100%. By default it will be 10. Once the size exceeds the more than 10, so the vector will increase its size by 100%, so the new capacity will be 20. After that the new capacity will be 40. It is like that. Okay, so the next difference will be regarding performance. As we saw that the array list is working on non-synchronization in nature, so that we can say that the performance definitely it will be increased on the better performance compared to vector, because the multiple tasks can be done on single object at the same time, so that the array list performance will be higher. But in case of vector, each thread will operate on synchronization in nature. So that's why one thread, once completion of the one thread, the next thread should operate. That's why the vector performance will be very slow. So if we go to the thread safe, definitely it is not a good choice array list, because of thread safe is not there in case of array list because of the non-synchronization in nature. But in case of vector, as it is synchronized, so vector is better. What is the next difference now? So how to iterate the data from the array list and vector. So here we are going for the iterator interface to extract or traverse the data from array list. But in case of vector, we have enumeration interface, and vector also works on the iterator interface as well. Okay, so these are the differences. We'll quickly recall the differences between the array list and vector once again. So class type is array list is introduced in JDK 1.2, but in the vector introduced in JDK 1.0, we can say the vector is the legacy class. The second difference will be the synchronization. The array list is non-synchronized in nature, but vector is the synchronized because of the thread safe. And in case of resizing, the array list will grow by 50%, but the vector size will grow by 100% every time. But in case of performance is concerned, the vector is slower compared to the array list because of the thread safe. But in case of array list, we don't have any thread. Thread safe. That's why the performance will be higher. Okay. So in case of array list, not a good choice for the thread safe functionality. But in case of, if you consider thread safe, the vector will be the better choice. So at last, the array list uses the iterate interface to traverse the element, but in case of a vector, it uses enumerate interface to traverse the element, and vector also use the iterator interface as well. Okay, these are the main differences between the array list and vector. If you still have any confusions or questions, please put it in comment section, so let me revert back. Okay, thanks guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit like button, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.